Now, they say never work with children and animals, but one father from Ramsbottom hasn't paid any attention to that. Paul Jenkins is an author, and less than a year after his first book of poems was published, he decided to collaborate with his 9-year-old son for a new children's story. And judging by the title, it's already got heads turning. Paul and his son Thomas are with me in the studio now. Thank you both for coming in. First things first, what is the title?
The book is called My Bottom Did a Burp in Class.
Hilarious.
Well, it is. If you are, if you're aged between sort of reception age and year 6, when I was speaking to teachers in advance, they said I asked them what is going to make your kids laugh, and there was pretty much 90% of them said you've got to talk about bottom burps.
So that was the inspiration.
And that was the inspiration, and that's where it came from.
And Thomas, you've been dragged in to help Dad on this one. You've done all of the drawings for it. How did you find that?
Honestly, I was just in the car and then suddenly Dad said, I'm writing a book, and then he says, oh, I need illustrations, and then he's like, hey, you know who's good at children's illustrations?
Children.
You.
Is that the thinking process behind it?
It did. I mean, this is my third book, and I've always worked with local artists. Whenever I've worked with Stuart Barclay on my first poetry book, who's also from Ramsbottom, and a fantastic guy called Adam Rowlandson, who on my first book. And I was sort of starting to think, well, who am I going to work with on the third one that's local? And then I just thought, well, the person sitting next to me is fairly local.
Pretty local.
Living with you is quite local. And Thomas has been drawing since he was a dot. Yes, and he seems to be drawing all the time, so it just made a lot of sense. If I'm doing a poetry book for primary school children, it kind of made sense to work with a primary school child.
Let's take a look at one of Thomas's drawings as well. We've got one in here. What was it like working together? How did you work? Did you have much direction from Dad, or did you come up with the pictures on your own?
Pretty much what happened was either I'd just draw something and Dad would base a poem on it, or I'd base a poem on Dad. I'd base a picture on Dad's poem.
Yeah, some of them have subjects. So it's a collection of 20 poems, that's correct?
That's right, yeah. And as Thomas was saying, sometimes I'd write the poem first, and then I'd say, could you illustrate that for me? Or he'd come back to me with an illustration based on an idea that we had, and then it'd be, right, okay, now I've got to write what's in the picture. So it turned into a real collaboration in the end, because we hadn't written all the poems when we first decided to start working together. So it has been fantastic, sitting at the dining room table, him with his felt tips in his hand, and me, sitting there typing away at the keyboard.
Nice bit of bonding by the sounds of it, father-son bonding.
Yeah, we've had a fairly good time. The book launch was quite fun as well, wasn't it, doing that together at the library?
Yeah, that was fun. That was very fun.
That was good fun, you liked that. What's the response been like to your drawings, Thomas, and to your poems?
Oh, well, you'd be able to tell us what people have thought at school that have seen it.
People have thought that they're amazing, but considering that I'm a child, they always say they're amazing.
I agree. You're a better drawer than I am, Thomas.
It has been lovely. I mean, I did a craft fair on Sunday at Ramsbottom with a local artisan market. And it was really nice to see people coming up, and they weren't just necessarily coming up to talk about the poetry. They were flicking through and really sort of engaging with the artwork as well.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about it. It's a book aimed for primary school children, and I wanted it to have that feel of, actually I could pick this up and I could do this if I wanted to. I can write a poem. I can illustrate a book and just to get engaged with poetry again, because that's the point of doing it. That's what I do. I work in schools trying to engage kids in poetry and getting them learning how to structure their own poems and sort of freeing up this idea that being a poet is somehow a very hard thing that only poets can do. And actually, when you start working with kids and saying, no, you can do that. You can make up words if you get stuck. You can rhyme it if you want to, not rhyme it if you don't. It can be long, it can be short. A poem can be 4 lines long, and that's what I'm trying to do with children in primaries, is kind of get them re-engaged with their writing a little bit as well.
And working so close in primary schools and with those children of the same age group, is that where you've drawn a lot of inspiration from for what's in this book?
Definitely, because I spoke to teachers a lot on some online forums while we were writing, and said, okay, are there some things that you're definitely teaching in class? And so things like the Great Fire of London came up as a topic for a poem, and somebody also mentioned about doing the Tudors and things like that. So there's a few historical based ones, but also for the early years kids. Things like, like, please do us a poem about dinosaurs and space and Lego bricks.
All those fun topics.
Exactly, things that actually the children are going to go, well, I've got Lego bricks, brilliant. And there's one in particular that which we've been working with Old Hall Primary in Bury, and we created a Minecraft poem, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because how much do you like Minecraft?
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah, and you want to read things that you're interested in, don't you? Absolutely.
Exactly. And what we've got the kids at Old Hall to do is that they've read the poem and they've taken a verse of it each. They've illustrated that verse each themselves, and then we've collected them all together, put them in a slideshow, and then I've narrated over the top and then put it back together as a poem. So now it's become, they've been commissioned as illustrators themselves within their classroom. And at the moment, I've only ever spoken to them via video link.
Wow.
I've sent them a video as kind of their author commissioning them as an illustrator. But I'm going in on World Book Day, so it's become an author visit now as well.
Yeah.
Pardon me. So it means that we're kind of like completing that circle a little bit, and it's been fantastic for me to kind of engage across the curriculum, using ICT, using literacy, using artwork, all coming together. And that's been helpful for teachers as well.
And where can people grab a copy of this if they'd like to?
Well, you can get it from Ramsbottom Library, if you happen to be local. Or if you've got a copy online, you can either go to Amazon or you can get it through my website, which is www.thedramstudio.org.uk.
Well, thank you so much for coming in, and wonderful drawings, Thomas.
Thank you.
Maybe an illustrator of the future. Thank you to you both.
Thank you.
You're welcome.